got 25 minutes. We got to go.
Hey, happy Wednesday, everyone. It's another hump day.
Hump day?
Welcome to Say That channel. If this is your first time with us, we just want to say a big, huge welcome. We're glad you're here. If you are a part of Say That Nation, go ahead and put a 2 in the chat. We love to shout you out as well. For all our new timers, go ahead and put a 1. If you're watching us live, put an L in the comments. We want to know who's with us live. If you're watching the replay, go ahead and put an R in the chat. We want to make sure that we get everybody involved. So my name is Janelle Villiers. That over there is Winston Broderick. We are both authors and entrepreneurs. And we're really excited to talk about the ugly come up of entrepreneurship. So we've all heard those stories, right? How people start from nothing and then they have this massive success. And you're like, what happens in the middle? What happens during that ugly come up? Well, that is what we're here to talk about. What's the mindset you need to have? What are the pitfalls you need to circumvent? So that way we can continue to move forward towards success in our entrepreneurship journeys. And so we've got 25 minutes to answer a topic question of the day. And then what happens when we run out of time? Oh no, what do we do? Well, we go into overtime. You can catch the link in our description box. Make sure you click on that link so you can get all the extra tidbits that us and our guests talk about in overtime. You can also catch the recordings on Patreon as well, the past guests as well, not just today. So you'll get today and all the rest.
Say that.
Really excited. Today's going to be another great day.
Agree. Let's jump into the topic.
Is your ability to push your product affecting your business?
That's definitely got to be a component, right?
Yes. Let's talk about pushing your product. That's important. I think this is a great topic. And it's not just me and Winston who are here. We're really excited to bring on the guest that we have today. Not only is he the COO, he's an entrepreneur, he's a leader, but honestly, I think he's just an individual who's just really out there to help push other entrepreneurs to succeed and thrive in this new market that we're in. So everybody, please welcome to the stage, Dromonte Montgomery.
Our next guest.
Hey!
Welcome in, Dromonte.
Thank you.
We are excited to have you on, but for those who don't know you or your story, please share with everybody a little bit about how you got into your entrepreneurship journey and then landed in the area of business that you're in now.
Perfect. So my entrepreneurship journey, depending on who you ask, started at different phases. We can always go back to childhood. So if you ask my mom, it started when one day, I was just randomly outside knocking on people's doors saying, "Hey, can I walk your dog for $5?" That's where she considers it. I consider it around the time where I was maybe 3rd grade and I was selling candy at school to the point where, I was building up a nice savings account. And that's kind of where the entrepreneurship started, dog walking, selling candy, just little hustles here and there. And then eventually it got to the point where I came into the marketing sphere. I had the opportunity to basically start like Yelp accounts, Twitter, Facebook, popular social media accounts for the LASIK Vision Institute back in 2013. And I was given that opportunity purely because, I was young and I was very adept with social media. And they weren't as young. And that's really where the marketing journey kind of started to take off. Now they call it online reputation management. But back then it was just basically customer service for online business.
I love that. Online reputation management. That is actually more succinctly what it is at this point. That's awesome. All right. And so I'm doing the math because I know how old you are. You started pretty young then, like as a teenager.
March 2013, I would have been 15 years old, I think.
Wow. And you were given that opportunity. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It was a fun experience. I'd be lying if I said I was excited. I definitely had to be coerced with payment into doing it. I was offered it and literally did not even have my attention. I was like, no, thanks, and just kept doing my own thing. And then when money became involved, I was like, oh yeah, we can we can definitely do this. Sounds fun.
All right. Well, so people can now understand you definitely have the right experience for this to answer today's question. Is your ability to push your product affecting your business? All right, Dromonte, what are your thoughts on this?
The answer is yes. It's more of what's happening that's affecting your ability, right? Kind of as we were saying backstage. Sometimes it's a good thing to be bored. If you're too busy, you may be lacking creativity. You may be lacking different perspectives, right? Especially going along the entrepreneurial path, we think that we constantly have to have, our schedule filled, maybe sleeping only a couple nights out of the day or a couple hours out of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not always the case. Things like that you could get drained, burnt out, and you can miss a lot of opportunities, whether they're coming to you or you have to create them yourself.
That's a good point.
Yes. And so we were talking about this back to the importance of like sometimes you need to be bored. Otherwise we're like overstimulated and have too much to do and not enough time to be creative. So what about I mean, you talked about the creativity part, but like let's talk about the actual push, like someone's ability to push their product or their service. Like what do you see in your clients or the people that you've come across or in contact with that impacts their ability to do it well or to do it poorly?
And so, especially with clients, because at the end of the day, the problem we solve for our clients is taking their marketing strategies and making them money from their marketing. And that kind of involves operations as well, right? So something that really affects their ability is reluctancy. Sometimes it's a reluctancy to change, and most oftentimes it's a reluctancy to just even listen. There's a lot of business owners, and some of them have been in business 10, 20 years, and they're like, oh, well, I've done my own marketing. And it's the fact that they have, and I'm not going to discredit that whatsoever, but they're going to stick in their ways. And it was obviously working to some extent, but then you have people like us who come in and we're experts. We know how to go this way, that way, this way. And a lot of those things can sometimes even be passive. Especially during the entrepreneurial route, it usually is you like, hey, here's my card, or here's a DM. A lot of one-to-one outreach, when oftentimes there's situations where you can push your product. For example, a reluctancy for some of social media, right? It could be as simple as making a video, and it could have 100 views, 1,000 views, any number of views, and the amount of time and effort you have to put into it was not as much as literally walking up and speaking to someone. And better yet, that's even more shareable. So, you kind of have a better chance of a referral. But then there are people like, I don't want my clients to find me online. It's more of, it doesn't really matter what you want if you want your business to be successful sometimes. And that's the reluctancy that a lot of these people have, and that affects their ability.
So, and I can recognize someone who's choosing to be hesitant. But let's say we're addressing someone who's actively feeling like they're pushing their product, they're pushing their service. I don't necessarily know what constitute advertising now, if it doesn't, I guess, fall into some type of social media. But with that, how is what you're marketing making you money if it isn't converting to customers buying from you?
So it can also convert to referrals. For example, there's a liquor company based out of Austin, Texas. 2021, 2022. I definitely could go give you the exact date, but they had somebody stranger, right? On social media, posted a video, was not an affiliate or anything, and there's $150,000 that can be tracked back to that. And to be frank, because they're a client, so I can be honest, we don't push social media as hard as we should. I can't make their full-on marketing decisions like that. It's just my job to execute what they want. But I think that's kind of a good example to answer that question.
It applies. I'm thinking again, because I know a lot of people in terms of trying to venture into, I guess, marketing and social media. There's a lot of how-to videos, so it's really just understanding. I feel like there are a lot of people that, regardless of videos or how many, there's this idea of I just need to go viral. If I can go viral off of, you mentioned the gentleman that tagged this person in their liquor.
Mm-hmm.
It's an idea of something like that. It's like, how can do I need a celebrity? Is that something that a company can say, oh, we can put you, we can get you in connection with something like that, or that just happened to happen? That doesn't seem like there's much control in that example. I'm thinking about somebody who's trying to engineer some effect like that. I'm trying to engineer, a Janelle Villiers happening to show my thing on her next live, with the sense that Janelle can garner the $150 or whatever the upsell is, or bringing in that type of sale for the company. How are you guys helping people, I guess, position themselves to do things like that? Or is that not how that part is set up?
So we can position companies to be where they want.
Okay.
And I'm wording this carefully just because that's almost kind of a brash statement to make. So for example, like if a company comes to us and like, hey, we want to go viral, okay, we can do that, but it's not going to be the first video. It may or may not be.
Oh,
It
I
may
get
or may
Right.
not be the 10th. And this kind of goes down to, I believe what you were really talking about is the intentionality behind certain things. So it's like you have
Yeah.
this plan, but now here comes the intentionality. So if you came to me and you're like, hey, I want to go viral after our 10th try, are you going to keep going?
Okay.
You
So
know?
there is an aspect of, I guess, having to give your clients a reality check of what it really looks like to get to that state. Because viral, to your point, viral isn't the first 10 videos. Who knows what number we got to get to
Mm.
until we get there. So that there's a
Yeah.
lot of conversations that happen like that.
Yes, sir. And then it's easier to make some people go viral than others. My brother used to be an influencer. He was an IFBB pro. So
Okay.
we would do skits. So when he has 150,000 followers and we did a skit that got him, I think it was like 20.1 million plays on Instagram.
Oh,
Like that's something kind of easier just because of the numbers that are there. So it's
right.
situational as well. So it's very much an expectations thing. And that's something that I try and make extremely clear with clients is, hey, you might expect X, Y, and Z, but does your budget add up to this? Does your willpower add up to this? Because things are going to take time sometimes, the majority of the time. And it's funny because that's the game we're in. We're in the long game for the majority of our businesses. But when it comes to marketing, people don't really think about that. They're like, oh, well, you know what? We've tried this 5 times and it hasn't worked. I'm gonna change it. But what about one more?
Okay.
You never know if that next one is going to be the thing. And then especially when you're working with an agency and an agency of experts, it's more of taking a hypothetical situation that's worked before and applying it until it works for somebody.
Okay.
Mm.
Very cool.
This is so interesting. So thank you for like breaking that down. That was actually really helpful. And I'm still stuck on the people who are resistant to trying to. Do you find that that's a generational thing, or do you find even outside of normal generational stereotypes that there are people who are resistant?
I've actually, and it depends where you're going to want to define generation and ages, because obviously I'm 26. So I know other people close to my age who run businesses who don't do the majority of the services I offer. And then we'll literally have individuals who are in their 60s and 70s, been running a business for 30, 40 years. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do this. And I'll do, et cetera, et cetera. So I wouldn't put it down to an age thing. It usually comes down to a mindset. And it's that kind of student mindset that we're talking about, right? It's will you sit here for X amount of time and let me listen to your goals, your timeline. Let me know how your business works, and then allow me to tell you if it's actually a real dream or if it's just something that's in your head. And in most cases, people have an amazing dream that they would like accomplished within like 1 month. And there's a reason we do 3-4 month minimum contracts, just because I don't want to disappoint anybody, but nothing happens fast. But like kind of how Winston mentioned, the how-to videos make it seem like everything happens really, really, really fast. It does if you've done it 20 times and you're making a YouTube video, you know, to show to people. And again, nothing against those people. I know a lot of those guys as well. It's just that's kind of the industry we're in. There's a lot of miscommunication.
I was explaining to Janelle, we were talking about like funnel systems. That kind of reminds me of a lot what a lot of those kind of people push out.
Yeah, and that's an internal thing that we have at the Uproot Agency is drop the vocab and tell us what you're doing. Because I don't say funnels. Because if I say a funnel, people start to think, oh, click funnels, and then whatever the other company is. We can make you a funnel on anything. I mean, technically, you putting out a video on Instagram that has a link to maybe a booking or to another, that's technically a funnel.
Right.
But we put these vocab words, and not we, people in my industry put these vocab words on these simple processes because it makes it harder, and that just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like
it's a stigmatism.
Yeah,
stigmatizes it.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it's beneficial to some, but it's not beneficial to me. I try and be clear and transparent as possible, so I always just drop the vocab, and this is exactly what we're gonna do.
Nice.
Well, I can appreciate that. I think most of us can. So I feel like in my zone of people, a lot of us feel like our zone of genius is like the thing, whatever the service is. But what is not our zone of genius is the pushing of it. So the marketing of it, like how do we get to our perfect client or ideal client, like that kind of a thing. And so to me, it goes right back to that word ability. So if you know that this is not like your zone of genius is not this, right? And so then maybe then that means your ability is actually quite minimal or poor to market or to push. Of course, it's going to impact your business because if you can't get to your clients, you can't. So what would you recommend for those individuals who are either looking to, like, I guess, what would be like I hate doing the like, what's the number one thing? So I'll give you three. What are the three things that you would recommend for somebody who's like, I know I need to work on the marketing. I just like it's just it's challenging for me, right? Like where should I start? Where are like the three most important places to start?
I think the best place to start off is a marketing plan. And I think people should write, because people write business plans. And usually there's like a marketing section in there. But let's try a whole dedicated thing. A marketing plan that has your budget set out, the results you want, projected ROI or ROI, projected ROA, all of those things, right? Making money from our marketing, because we put that in our business plans. ROA is return on advertising.
Return on advertising. For those who don't know, ROI is return on investment.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
The only difference is the return on investment is if you're paying a company like us, you pay the ad cost and then our service cost. So your ROI is the return on everything. Then your ROA, return on advertising, is just on the advertising part. Really, your ROI is the only one that really matters. But yeah, so I would say starting off with a marketing plan, because then you have those metrics, you have those expectations, and your expectations aren't, I would like about this, and that. It's no, this is exactly what I want. This is what I am willing to spend. And once you have that idea created by yourself, I think step 2 would be to talk to an expert, and specifically an agency expert, because agencies typically do the actual execution of things. Oftentimes we'll even partner up with like a big corporation. They have their own internal marketing team. They came up with the strategy, the plan, then they pass over the work to us, and we actually execute it. That's why I say we can let you know if it's feasible or not, because there's a lot of theories and ideas. And then the third part I would say is literally just think about what you want after you have that conversation, because that conversation may go positively or negatively. But in most cases, you will get some real insight, some real advice from people who do it on the daily. And there's a less chance that you're going to waste money on marketing. And a lot of people waste money on marketing.
Okay.
You know, first, a lot of people think that social media, though, is free. So how if it's free?
Well, I was thinking about the paid ads that I see on some of those sites, but where are people spending a lot of the money, you're thinking?
Yeah.
In terms of advertising, or in terms
Yeah.
of like the customers spending their money?
No,
Mm, yeah.
advertising for companies.
So Meta, Facebook, and Instagram, and then Google. And then but also if you're doing Google, then YouTube as well. Twitter, not as active right now. I believe like 2 years ago they announced they were like down 50% on ad revenue. So you can run your ads very cheaply, but they're down for a reason. Customers aren't buying. And that's another reason you talk to an expert, because some people be like, oh, I can get a discount on what I'm going to do over there. Yeah, it's to have people not see it. But primarily, it also just depends what your service is to, or what your product is. And I'll stick with the same liquor company. Best place for them to run ads: social media, primarily Instagram and TikTok. Like those little short form content areas where people are just so engulfed, and then it's almost a younger drinking audience, because they're the ones who are going to be more likely to buy the product. 50-year-olds can drink, but they may not be likely to buy this new liquor that's only been out for 7 years.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
They're looking for tried and true. So fascinating.
Even that question alone had me thinking this, and I was like, where do you advertise now? Like,
Right.
I mean, I literally grew up when there were newspapers, so that's like an actual thing.
And that still works too. I'm connected with a man in Atlanta, and he does a magazine where literally it's just ads.
Magazine.
Every single page is an ad. There's no articles or anything. And he does extreme amount of numbers, and his clients get amazing returns. So there's no form of advertising that's dead, by the way. It's just, where is your audience? And and I don't want to say a lot, there's a good amount of business owners who say, this is my target audience. And then we come and look at the data and we're like, those aren't the people buying it though.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, so even something like that, your company is providing a service that they probably aren't getting that information. Because even people we've talked, I mean, Janelle and I have talked with I think it's Alexandra. Yes, there it is. Yeah. And even she talked or mentioned that knowing your niche customers is like half the battle.
Yeah, because you want to meet them. You definitely want to meet them halfway. You don't want your customer to do all the work and then give you money. They're not going to want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We call it catching them in a state of relaxation. So like if we have a product-based business come through and they want to run ads, they're like, oh yeah, we want to do it on Google. Let's not do that. Let's catch them on social media, because they're relaxed. They're on Google looking for something, and the chances that they're looking for your product.
Yeah.
Well, now you're up with competitors and stuff like that. When on social media, we'll just stick with liquor, right? Swipe. Oh wow, this liquor bottle. No other liquor bottles, and it's targeted to them. It's not like it's random. It's people that have interest in liquor or interest in this.
Right.
Like the rocks, tequila, that.
Party going out. Yeah. That's smart.
Yeah.
You let the algorithm do the work.
Mm-hmm. And then you can even just retarget. There's a lot of really in-depth strategies that you can do after running one good ad.
So do you recommend that people do like pay for their posts on social media? Like, I know, because the thing is, when I think something goes viral, it's not a paid advertisement that goes viral. It's like, it's usually just this person has been posting a ton of content, and then it's like this one video for whatever reason, right? Like, and then they're like, oh, and then that was the thing that like boosted the sales or whatever. Do you think people have a misinterpretation of that? Like they think, oh, that's what it is. You just do it for free, and then one day it just blows up, and does that not really like fit an actual plan? And you're like, no, you should plan for this, and then so spend money on promoting your posts. That way they reach more people.
I think it would come down to, again, goals and timelines. But to be really, really kind of quick about it, if you're looking to get a return, then yes, run ads. If you're looking to go viral, then you should just stick to organic content, because you're going to get better and better every single time. And all that's going to do is increase your chances of going viral.
So it's a distinguishing factor between going viral may not necessarily mean getting money.
Yeah, that's 100% true. That's yeah. Again, I can even speak on my brother. We have multiple videos of 15 million views plus, And those aren't paid for videos. There's no return on them.
So that leads me to this whole other. Oh man, this went by so fast. Well, I guess okay. So we're gonna have to go into overtime for this, but it just makes me think like I think there's a misunderstanding, and I guess you probably work with different businesses, but I think there's a misunderstanding as to people think that someone who goes viral is actually making money, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And so if you're out there as a business person, you need to really understand the difference between what does it mean to go viral versus what does it mean to actually get clients, customers, etc. So that way it can help your bottom line. And I would love to hear what exactly you tell people to help them switch into that mindset. So that's what we'll do into overtime. We'll get to overtime.
All right, so as we leave you guys, here is the website for Dromonte's company. And here they are on IG.
They're real. They'll respond to you. So please, like, these are definitely the experts when it comes to marketing. We know we got a lot of entrepreneurs who are out there watching this. Definitely reach out and make sure that you get, some really good advice.
Say that. All right, guys. So meet us over in overtime. But until we see the rest of you guys, as always, remember, you deserve the good life.
Say that.
We'll see you guys.